I haven't watched all of it, but I watched the first season.
Dude, Bad Batch is awesome. That is
Bad Batch is pretty good.
Really, really good.
I'm gonna start Underworld soon too.
You haven't watched them yet?
That one just came out recently. The new animated series.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
A dog
It's
door
supposed
is
to be
now
like
live. Streaming
Cad
Microsoft
Bane,
Flight Simulator
but
2024
not Cad Bane.
56 OG training DCS.
If you know what I mean.
Cad Bane, but not Cad Bane. Yeah.
It's Cad Bane oriented. Like there's a guy who's like, I think it's like Cad Bane's cousin or something. I don't know.
Hey, Black, can you send Blue a note and see if he's joining us? Because he signed up for it, and I don't want to get started. And I know Spy Balloon signed up, but Spy Balloon is currently in training with the checkmates in the other squadron.
He was one of the ones who went away, by the way, when I asked.
No, it looks like training's over. So maybe he's coming. Maybe I'll shoot him a note real quick.
Bing, bing.
What's up?
Sweet. Fifi is perfect for this. Fifi, you guys are done with training over at 211, right?
Yeah, dude, SA10
good.
Single pass with Spy.
Pass. Hey, speaking of, can you shoot Spy a note real quick and see if he's joining? Because he signed up for the air-to-air training tonight.
I think he went to bed. He was getting to bed. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll leave him.
He likes to sign. He likes to sign up for everything just to do it. But hey, dude, Spy is one of the bros now. Like single.
Well, Spy's good. It's amazing. It's amazing what happens when you actually teach somebody like some content instead of, hey, this is how you talk on a radio.
Like we literally sat down into the brief. Like I can even pull up the brief for what we did. Well, you saw it. I literally pulled up the brief and I was like, this is what we do. We split 2 angles. First guy to get shot at shoots a harm. Second guy drives in and does what he can, and then you just rinse repeat until you kill it. And dude, we did it in a single pass. Like
that's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Was he the shooter or the killer?
He was the shooter.
What's your guys' speed weapons?
2 harms, 4x-GP38.
The only thing you need, the 38, and a decoy somewhere.
Yeah. And
I mean, you can replace the harm with Tal. You can use J-Sal. You can use a wingman. I mean, you just need an idiot to get shot at. And that could be computerized or person.
So what I like about the harms is that like they get shot at anyways, and then like if the harm makes it through it kills something. Like that's the way I look at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we came in, he shot the harm. Like he got engaged first, right? He shot the harm, and so of course the SA-10 was engaging him and that harm. It threw out like 4 or 5 missiles at him.
That's awesome.
He defended those. I shot a harm right after. I shot the platform.
The platform stood right. It didn't. You guys didn't shack it.
Let's say that time. Yeah, I didn't shack the platform.
Okay.
And then I shot a harm basically like right at the same time, and my harm actually hit the big bird. My first harm shot hit the big bird, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm just gonna go ahead and keep driving for the GBU-38s. So then I drove for the GBU-38s, pickled all 4 of them off on the radars. Turned out by then the SAM site was launching on me by then because I kind of drove in a little close, and then I was at probably like 22 miles or so, high and fast, and then it engaged me. So threw the GBU-38s out, dove, got out of there, and fucking shacked the shit out of it. And then Spy was like, oh man, and he only shot 1 harm, and we already defeated the freaking SAM site. So he was like, I was like, dude, go in, throw your 38s at it. He's like, really? I was like, yeah, why not?
Clean it up,
garnish that shit. So yeah, dude. I mean, it could not have gone any better.
Nice.
So, anyways, I'm shutting up. What are you guys doing?
We're just about to do some air training. Ooh, Russian. That's what I'm probably looking for. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like perfect timing. Oh, you're streaming? Hell yeah.
Fifi.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Dog Door Show.
This is the Daddy Chaos Show, I think you'll find. Actually, it's been the Fifi show so far.
The DDS.
I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna let you.
All right. Sweet. So
USA.
No, this stands for us suspiciously. I don't know why I put periods, but that's us. So it's friendlies. Did you hear anything back from Blue? Black? Or do we need to hit up red or pink? Okay, sweet. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we want to do today is we're going to go through a little bit of an academic classroom because I think that we need to start with a foundational understanding of what we want before we actually jump into the range. Because if we jump into the range and I'm like, hey, do an S turn and defend, you're going to be like, what the fuck is an S turn and how do I defend? So what I want to do is we're going to go through some tabletop. I'm going to draw out some pictures on this sweet whiteboard that we have going. And then from here, we're going to get into jets and I'm going to send you guys up in groups. And you will do this in pairs and I won't be with you in the air, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to GCI and control it all. Just like I'm the AWACS instructor pilot. Yep. So, actually, if you, Black, are you flying with us today?
No, I'm just kind of listening along.
Yep. So, Fifi, if you could fly, I could use one more.
Yeah, I got it. I'll fly.
Dope. All right. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about some nomenclature. So, down here at the bottom, we have 2 black arrows. These 2 black arrows are the harbingers of death driving, the greatest jet second to the Viper. I'm just saying that because Fifi's here. But these tactics can be applied to anything. And it's also applicable in pretty much everything, including back to prop. So, kind of.
Question?
Send it.
Is this going to be mainly a BVR class, or is it going to be all-encompassing?
It's going to be a little bit of all-encompassing. This is going to be entry level. This is the how to lock something, how to engage something, and how to survive it. So that you can go out and, stock everything from an MI8 up to some MiG-29s. Because I think we got smacked really hard by Cap last campaign, and I think we need to cover some fundamentals with air-to-air. And I'm not saying that anybody's lacking that. I just think it's something that I don't think we've ever actually practiced in here, aside from going guns hot and, a dogfight. So down at the bottom, we got 2 black arrows. Those are going to be our depiction for our friendly forces. We got 1 and 2, no big deal. Up above here, right, we got an emissary. So the arrow they're going to denote battle is nomenclature and brevity for how to discuss things in the air. There's several different ways that we can discuss them being in the air. We can talk about the azimuth, their main course of travel. But the way that we do this within a fighter is we have just a very few words that mean a lot to us. It will dictate how we go about and kill them or pursue them. So for the first one we're going to talk about is this guy right. Oh, that's fill tool. I'm going to undo that. I need my brush. So here's our first one we're talking about. Nose to nose. What do we call this? I'm sure everybody knows this one.
It's a sexy bitch.
That's hot. So when you hear AWACS, channel 18, you're going to hear, bearing 157, a bra. Let's talk about a bra, because it's the most common call out that you're going to hear from AWACS, from wingmen, from anybody who is guiding you onto a bandit. So, I'm sorry, a bogey. You're going to get a BRA, B-R-A, bearing, range, azimuth. So bearing, no, not azimuth, aspect.
Altitude.
Oh yeah, that too. So bearing, we're going to say he's, 153 degrees, and that's going to be the direction of travel from your current position. So if you hear an AWACS tell you, 153, that means you need to turn your nose from whatever direction you are facing to 153 to be nose hot with them. Does that make sense? And then we have the R, which is range. They're going to say, for 40 miles or 120 miles. And then you're going to hear an altitude, 21,000 hot. The last part of that bra is going to be its aspect to you. And it's either going to be hot, flanking, or cold. Those are the 3 things that you need to worry about when you are in any kind of fight. First one, circled in a red circle, that is our hot. That is nose to nose. Now, one thing to think about when we are in a beyond visual range and we're using A120s, they're using R77s. If you have 2 modern jets and you guys are both driving into the same fight and you're both going 500 knots, that means you are closing at a rate of 1,000 miles per hour, which means you cannot pick this guy up at 20 miles and wait, a minute to decide what you're going to do. If you have a hot aspect target in your face, you need to, in your head, you need to know, oh, this is hot. The reason we call it hot is because it's a very spicy situation, and either you or them is going to die, and it's going to be whoever can get the advantageous position, or in the example of you guys are 20 miles off, it's going to be whoever fires first and who can defend better. So that's hot. Hot is nose to nose. And if you remember one thing about hot, just remember you guys can be closing at 1,000 miles per hour, which means that fight is going to develop wicked fast. Next we're going to talk about, it's going to be circled in yellow, is flanking. Flanking is moving left to right. Flanking is a little bit peculiar because with flanking, you're going to get into a little bit of radar technology in here, because not all radars will be able to track something. So, and that's just because the silhouette is so small, the radar return is small, and sometimes, a great example is the F-16. The Viper has a really hard time tracking, identifying, and locking anything that is flanking. So if you are in your F-18, you get your bearing, range, azimuth, and you hear flanking, what you're going to do is you're going to turn your nose on to investigate. And you're going to be attentive to your radar, because you may have it one track, and the next time that radar pulses across the screen, you may not see it again. And the reason that is because not all radars have the best ability to track a flanking adversary. The last thing we're going to talk about is, so flanking. Flanking is kind of like a neutral position, depending on if you're nose hot on them or if you're flanking them. If you have a target and they are flanking you, they're moving left to right or right to left, it's not anything that you have to quickly make a determination on. If you are pursuing somebody or you're up on a cap mission and you see somebody flanking, you have time to make a decision. You have time for you and your wingman to set up a cap. You have time to set up a kill shot. You have time to look at the area, see if there's any situational exclamation points in the area, like a SAM system, that you need to consider into your decision-making process. This would be like the second, if we were to put precedence on these, the number one thing that we need to learn is going to be how to engage a hot aspect. Because that is the least amount of time that we're going to have to prepare for a fight or decide how we're going to fight it. The second amount of time that you're going to have for deciding on what to do is going to be the flanking. So if you have somebody moving laterally to you, lots of time. You have, in this situation, the way you have on the board, you have the advantage because you're the one driving in nose hot on them. Because maybe, remember how radar works. These guys are tracking their own radar out here. So they may be even completely blind to you. Where'd my cursor go? Man, paint sucks. And then this guy's running radar out here. So they may even be blind to us. Whereas with the red guy, where's the red guy's radar facing?
He sees us.
Right up.
He sees us. Yeah, we're just going to assume that this is a shit show, and we are going to engage. And we either quickly make a determination to engage, or disengage and drag them back to a friendly airspace where maybe we have a sister flight, or we have, a Patriot battery, a NASAMS, a Hawk, something else to help us with the fight. But if you are within 20 miles, like I was saying earlier, anytime you get into this range of 20 miles or less, you are in the fight. It doesn't matter. You bought this farm, and now you got to figure out what the fuck to do with the rodents that are out there eating your crops. Because, like we said, 20 miles at a 1,000-mile closure rate, you are going to be in a merge within a minute. It develops extremely fast. Now, the last one we're going to talk about is the best situation to be in, and that is going to be, what's the last one? Somebody tell me. Cold, right? So we're listening to AWACS, and the AWACS says, bearing, range, azimuth, and then he tells us they are cold, which means they are driving away from us, and we can pace them, we can follow them, or we can push power, or we can put some posturing shots up and just piss them off. This is the best situation to be in, because this is the one that will give us the absolute most amount of time to decide on what we're going to do. So in priority of threat, hot, we've got to decide how we're going to take this fight. Flanking, we have time to decide on how we want to attack. And then cold, we have all the time in the world because they are driving away from us, and we can either follow them or literally just track them on radar, not even worry about it. Everybody good so far?
Got it.
Wheat.
I'll be right back. I'm going to get dessert. Keep teaching.
Hell yeah. Alright, so now let's talk about how and when we're going to use our weapons. I'm going to put a little star out here. We're going to pretend that this is our example of using a AIM-120 Charlie, a AMRAAM, our favorite little missile. Oh, we don't want a star. Silly Willy. These things. So AMRAAMs. The AMRAAM is a Fox 3 weapon system. I know everybody has heard this on every channel, every flight. You know, you hear Fox 1, Fox 2, Fox 3. What those are. Fox 1 is a air-to-air weapon system that is completely and solely guided by the radar of the friendly aircraft. So in this situation, dang, I need to get better. So in this situation, if we're talking about a Fox 1, and say we're using our radar down here, which we can do inside of a F-18, and we want to fire a Fox 1, which is like a Phoenix missile.
Hold on.
Not
Phoenix.
Yeah, not Phoenix. What is it? It's the Sparrow.
And
There we go. So,
it's called a semi-active radar missile. So basically, it has a radar receiver in the nose, and it uses the radar signal from the aircraft, and it's guided in by that. All right, sorry. I'm actually going to get my dessert now.
So if you think about it, the Phoenix or a Fox 1, why do I keep saying Phoenix? The Sparrow. We can carry those, and this is something that you'd use in a Cold War situation. But this is also how our Fox 3s start its life. They start out semi-active, guided. The way this works is our radar system inside of our F-18 is going to go out. It sees this guy, and it's like, oh my gosh, there's a bad guy right here. And what it's going to do is it's going to done its radar, or it's going to give, it's going to be the donor system for the Phoenix to go and fire against this bad guy up here.
Sparrow?
Yep, Sparrow. So the reason that is important is if we turn off and we make our F-18 turn 90 degrees to the left, we will trash our radar shot, right? We won't be tracking them by radar anymore. True statement. And so if we are in that Fox 1 situation and we turn off and we no longer maintain a lock, we just trashed our shot, which is okay. But if you're Fox 1, just always keep in the back of your head, you maintain lock to get the kill. And we have... So that's the question. So we're completely guided by our aircraft systems. Think of Fox 1 as an extension of our system. So the Sidewinder, and there's a lot of Sidewinders. Sidewinder, original OG Sidewinder 8 up until the AIM-9X, which is amazing. That's God's gift to a Sidewinder. I'm going to make this a little star like this.
Back into the station.
Is not guided at all by our radar systems. Now you can use our onboard radar systems, and you can lock the target. And if you have a Fox 2 selected, it will tell the seeker to start looking. But the moment you fire that weapon, it has an arming time of like 2 milliseconds. As soon as it's off the rail, it's going to begin looking. The weapon system is going to begin looking for a heat source. And usually, depending on the generation, it has anywhere between like a 25 degree and a 40 degree field of view. And what it's doing is this weapon system down here is going to be looking for a hot source. I'm going to put this up here just to remind us for something later. So depending on the generation of the Fox 2 that you're running, you are not going to be able to do a hot aspect shot on it. Why is that? Because if we fire a AIM-9 and it's looking for a heat signature and they are nose hot on us, is that weapon system, is the seeker actually going to see the heat of the engine and track on it?
Negative.
Probably not. Yeah, so not at all. I think the Blackbird knows this better, but I think the Lima is the first all-aspect AIM-9. Or is it the mic?
I think it's either the Lima or the Juliet. I think it's Lima.
Yeah. So it's somewhere mid-series. When it comes to letters and weapon systems, grab the ones that are later in the alphabet because those are the most technologically advanced ones. So if we're flying along and we have target number 1 and we have target number 2 over here, and we fire off a Fox 2, and Fox 2 is only looking for a heat signature, which of these two targets, do we think it will see and track first, 1 or 2? Absolutely 2, because it has a brighter, hotter signature. It is literally just an infrared seeker attached to a gimbal, and it's saying, where's the heat? One thing to think about is, what is a big hot thing that floats in the sky?
Beautiful sun.
The beautiful sun. So if you have an adversary, and he is flying with his back to the sun, he's like right here, and you go shoot on him, all this guy has to do is fly away from the sun, pop a couple flares, and turn his engine down, and he's going to defeat that missile all day. Let's talk about countermeasures for a Fox 2. What do we have on our jet that can distract the seeker of a Fox 2?
Fox 2 would be
Flares. 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 Yep, Fox 1 would be Chef. So if you see something popping up, you see a missile, it's tracking you, but you're not getting any RWR warnings, because what does RWR stand for? It stands for Radar Warning Receiver. If you're fired on by a Fox 3 or a Fox 1, you're going to get a RWR warning indicator. But if you're fired on with a heat-seeking weapon system, you're not going to get any missile warning detection, because unless you're talking about the Kiowa, the H-64, the A-10, but all those things see is, it sees a missile being shot.
Yeah, they have a passive IR missile detection system.
But it's not necessarily looking for the weapon. It's looking for small, quick flashes.
Launch signatures,
Yep, launch signatures. So for defending against these things, what we do is we put out flares. And what you want to do is, this is a teamwork activity. When, say, Blackbird and I are flying along, and I see Blackbird get launched on by a Fox 2, I'm going to call out smoke in the air off your 6. And he's going to say, no RWR. I'm going to call out, all right, sweet, heater. Yeah. And I'm going to tell him, to start doing. What he's going to do is he's going to nose down. He's going to start dumping flares. And what you want to do is you want to dump flares in groups of 3 to 5 in really quick succession. And what that does is that creates a big bright object that you can see. And after you do that, you're going to turn off doing an S-turn. Either turning left, right, up, down, but left and right is best, while, descending to use gravity to go faster. You bring your engine back. Because what you want to do is you want to illuminate an area with that group of 3 to 5 flares. And what you want is for that IR-seeking warhead to see the flares and not your engine anymore. So you'll pop those 3 to 5 flares, and then pull your engine back, and that's when you're going to start doing an S-turn. And the reason we do that S-turn is to confuse the seeker with, what it's looking for. So if we're here, we do an S-turn here, we do an S-turn here, do an S-turn here. We are escaping because we got shot at from, where's my arrow? So we have a missile, tracking up behind us. We're going to, we're going to run away from it, because the best way to defeat any missile is to make it run out of energy. And it's very easy to make a weapon system run out of energy because it has a limited amount of fuel for that engine. And normally, for your air-to-air weapons, they will only run for like 5 to 10 seconds. And that's why you often see them arc up into the sky, because what it's doing is it's tracking it. It's going to arc itself up to gather as much energy as it can by utilizing gravity later to pull it towards your target.
Unless it's a beautiful, beautiful Sparrow, my favorite pursuit missile.
Yeah,
it's like a 25-second engine.
Oh, no, it's like 30. So
how do you know,
what these are?
How do you know what direction they come from? Can you see it on?
You'll see it on your you'll see it on your RWR. Your RWR will give you a indicator as to where that missile is, and you just run away from it. And hopefully,
you got a spot with your eyes.
Yep, you spot with your eyes, and you use your teamwork. So what I'm doing here is a little diagram. So say we're running away, and we're running straight up the screen here. The little yellow arrow is our path to travel. And you can see how this thin yellow line kind of snakes back and forth in an S-turn. And then where these stars are, that's where we dump our flares. And you're going to dump your flare, wait a couple seconds, get more energy, and then dump a couple more flares, and then turn back in. Now, these are not very aggressive. It is not a, separating all the vapors off the wingtip, making your pilot black out. This is a nice, smooth 3 to 5G turn where you're maintaining speed. Because you don't want to burn off your speed also. Because those weapon systems, after they launch, they have 5 to 10 seconds of energy being expended, and then they're following you they're tracking you with nothing but inertia. And so you start doing these S-turns, and what that does is it forces the weapon system to start turning left and right. And every time you move a control surface in any type of airborne vehicle, you bleed energy. So as you do these S-turns, and you're making that missile turn left and right, you're also hopefully distracting them, blinding them with the flares. You're burning its energy, you're bleeding its energy, and you're doing this in a nose-down attitude, so that you are gaining energy as you follow this, as you purposely drive towards the ground. And it's not like a nosedive; you're going like 30 degrees down. Send it.
If you go over to the 211 Discord and pull up the TAC view of me and Glue's SA-10 takedown, there were some really good kinetic missile defeats if you want to use those as examples.
I don't have TAC view on this computer.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I had a question. Since you've got your pictures up for where you dump your flares, would you show also where you might dump your chaff if it's a radar missile?
So that is a great question. And guess what? It is the exact same. However, the difference between something that is pursuing us with infrared and something that's pursuing us with radar is we can't make our radar cross-section disappear by turning our engine off. So the advantage to defeating a radar-guided missile is we can be in burner the entire time, 30 degrees down, doing S-turns and maintaining 500 knots. Does that make sense?
And I was always taught that dumping your chaff perpendicular to the missile/radar is advantageous than more advantageous than dumping it.
Dump it in your turns. Dump it in where your S-turn is, because what it's doing, both an IR and both a radar weapon, what it is doing it's called a read section, where it is extrapolating your position and then it's predicting where you're going to be. So when you dump your chaff and flare in that turn and you turn back, first your goal is to distract it and say, "Ha, you can't see me anymore." But the second is to give a momentary break in tracking, so that if it does resume track on you, it has to do a more aggressive correction to get back to you. And when you have anything airborne and you make aggressive maneuvers, you lose that energy faster. Does that make sense? Yep. So science, bitch.
Pocket sand.
Yeah, pocket sand. It is. That's exactly what it is. It's pocket sand.
It's
What you're doing you are throwing stuff out to distract your adversary and that weapon system. And now for the S-turn legs, that's going to be completely up to you, because I don't know what kind of train you're in. But you normally don't want to just go S-turn. You're going to S-turn, settle for 3 to 5 seconds. S-turn, settle for 3 to 5 seconds. Maintain that speed. And what you should do is, before you start your turn, look and see where your speed is. If your speed's at 500 knots, do your S-turn. You may bleed down to like 420. And then once you reach that 500 again, that's when you dump your chaff or flare, and you do your next S-turn. And then, in that next S-turn, you may bleed back down to 420 again. And then once you hit that next 500 mark, that's where you bleed your chaff and flare again. And if you are any amount of reasonable distance, so I would say 10 to 25 miles, if you successfully put your go cold to a shot on you, and you put your nose down 30 degrees, you get some speed going, and you successfully execute 2 to 3 S-turns with either chaff or flare, and if you get nervous in a moment, put both out, it's not going to hurt. If you do 2 to 3 good S-turns, at that point, all you do is pull your nose up and you climb. Because at that point, you've made that missile correct 3 times already. It's dropped down into thick air, and it no longer has a engine source to give it more energy. It's only running off of what it has. It's a paper airplane with a warhead. And so what you do is you start to climb. And it's the same rule. Not super aggressive. You're not bending the wings. You're not making your pilot black up. You're at 30 degrees, nose up, and you're going full burn, and you're climbing. Because what happens is that missile's going to keep trying to track you, but after those successful 2 to 3 S-turns, it no longer has an engine. It no longer has energy, and it can no longer pursue you, aside from if you're below it. Does that make sense? And as a wingman, if DCS are flying, and I see his missile, and he starts to pull up, and the missile doesn't pull up, I just tell him, "Hey, you're clean, egress to the west," or whatever the case may be, or give me right-hand turn, recommit. Any questions on what we've covered so far?
What does the 18's RWR look like when you have a missile on you? Does it depend on the type of missile?
No, so you're going to see, it's a diamond, and it's going to have the weapons on you, or it'll just say M, and it'll be blinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what, ammo?
M for missile.
Is this on your actual RWR, or it can be on the EWs as well?
So the RWR and the EW is the exact same thing, they're just different screens. They both show you electronic warfare information. The RWR shows you the exact same stuff, and on the RWR, you have those 3 concentric rings.
Yep.
The outermost ring is just what your RWR sees, your radar warning receiver. That second ring shows you what is tracking you, so you'll probably see like a Big Bird, Fan Song, Snowdrift, you'll see like 8, 6, 15, 19. And then that third concentric ring, that is a weapon system that is engaged in tracking you. And that's what you run away from. Anything inside that third concentric ring with that diamond around you, you put to your butt, you go as fast as you can, you start S-turning after a mile once you have that speed, and you start dumping your countermeasures at that point.
And when you say after you do your S-turns and your defensive maneuvers, will you see the missile drop off the radar when it breaks track, or your RWR stuff?
No, so something that's actually a really good question. And it's something that Fifi and I, we've made this mistake often, where we'll be attacking, whether it be flankers or fulcrums or even like SA-10 site, and we will defeat a missile within probably, 30 seconds, but we'll keep driving out with like full burn 500 knots because we're still getting that EW. And we already know in the back of our head, we just haven't put A and B together. Understand that that radar is still going to track you no matter where you are, as long as it's alive. So it could be flying at 50 knots, 5 feet off the ground, and if it still has battery left in it, it will still track you. That's important to check your shoulder or have your wingman tell you when you're clear. Because if you run away from a dead energy missile, as long as it has you pitbull, you're going to drive miles away from the fight when you can quickly turn back in and recommit with a shot. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir.
So super easy to do in cons, like wicked easy to do in cons, because every missile's in a con, just like any airplane will. And just as soon as you're above those cons, you just pull off and ignore that RWR. So we talked Fox 1s. We just met with those with chaff. The easiest way to defeat a Fox 1 is to kill the radar source. But if it's a neutral fight, or if they have the advantage, if they launch first, you defend yourself. That's what you defend yourself. Float cold, get fast, dump chaff, dump chaff, 30 degrees down, and S-turn, nice and slowly. And go make sure your S-turn is, make sure you give yourself time to defend that S-turn, because you want to make that missile correctly bleed energy. Because if you're just rolling left, rolling right, all you're doing is making it wiggle just a little bit. Like if you're dragging that thing across like a 45-degree turn that, extends for 8 to 10 seconds, that's a big turn that missile's going to bleed a lot of energy on.
Yeah, and just talk about cranking, you're just going to be cranking left and cranking right to, away from the target.
Cranking's not offensive.
Yeah, the same maneuver you're doing.
Fox 2, that is a heat-seeking warhead that we think for our American flag weapon systems. That is the AIM-9 family, all the way from 8X. And then really, the consideration that we have for that one is we want to have the best shot that we can on that heat system. And the way you know you have the best shot on a heat system is the audible alarm, where you audible ends here. And the F15, you turn your weapons up or down, you go left, you get right side, volume is. You can crank that all the way up or all the way down. It's kind of like a user thing. And it has like a static ground conductor. When that swing is like our radar system, in which it has a center field that's looking out. And the audible small figure here is the type of heat intensity, and then as it goes from that, static swell to that. The louder the gets, the better view it has of a heat source track. And one thing to know about they're all pretty similar, and max. However, one thing you're chasing a cold target near 10 miles, you get fire. You might be 5 knots, you can drive that missile and miles with it for 5 seconds. So these sideways really range, but that is going to be your number. What is your shit? Your engine is bigger, but it won't feel something. For a high ratio, you can fire miles if you have 8 9. When they all levels, you get like lean arrow, you go 5 miles, and they're all effects. DCS, I'll do 5 miles for first. I mean, I'll first one. This is all effects. You can fire turn those, they will find that.
It
Some